We might swing that around 180 degrees. Okay, so we're here with Marty and Kym from Australian Adventure Vehicles, and we are talking about light trucks used for four-wheel drive touring. Everyone knows what a ute is, but what happens when you run out of capacity in your ute, when you overload it and there's not enough space? Well, you turn to something like a Mitsubishi Canter, is what we're sitting in at the moment, a motorhome conversion, or maybe an Iveco Daily or Hino or something like that. So these guys are the experts here, and we're going to take a walk around the vehicle in a minute and look at what it can do and some of the modifications there. But just for the moment, guys, what are some of the key differences between this and a Ranger? Maybe starting with the weights, because a Ranger dual cab weighs probably 2,300 kilos, GVM of 3,200, so you've got about 900 kilos to play with. What's the equivalent weights here for the for this sort of vehicle?
So basically your gross carry mass is taken directly above your GVM, so you can beat your full max GVM of the Canter, which is 6 tonne, and you can still tow a true 3.5 tonne. Okay,
so what would I don't know, if you just had, let's say, a tray on the back, how much would the vehicle weigh then, to get an idea of payload?
So you're probably looking, you could still probably come in under 3.5, so about that 3.4, maybe 3.3, depending on the size and the materials you use for that tray.
Alright, so if the vehicle weighs 3.3 and the GVM is 6 tonnes, then you're looking at around about 2.5–3 tonnes of payload. And
that's right.
Which is a lot,
yes.
Yeah, okay. And if you wanted to keep it under 4.5 tonnes, then you still got around about a tonne of payload.
Correct.
Yes,
Which
correct.
is still a lot there. Okay, great.
And you still have that 3.5 tonne towing capacity beyond that again.
Okay, and that's because the GCM, the gross combination mass, is actually properly the GVM plus the maximum.
So a GCM is 9.5.
Yeah,
correct.
exactly. Unlike the average ute there. Okay.
Correct.
So basically, you've got a hell of a lot more payload then. Probably, it's 2 and a bit tonnes there, whereas the average ute is probably well under a tonne for dual cab. Let's talk about space now. So dual cab ute, the tray is generally about 1.5 metres long. You can put a service body on it, but really that shouldn't be much longer than about 1700 mil. Width maybe 1800, 1900, something like that. With a dual cab Canter, what are we looking at for sort of?
Well, your maximum would be 3.8. That would be within your 60% overhang rule.
Yeah.
It's probably a little bit long and looks aesthetically unbalanced. So 3.5, 3.2 to 3.5 would be a great looking tray.
So even if we took that down to 3 metres, that's still a hell of a lot longer than significantly longer. Yeah. So we've got a lot more payload, and we've got a lot more tray length, and in width-wise, what are we looking at?
Anywhere between 2. The actual cab itself is 2 metres wide, so 2.1 is ideal. That way, even if you're doing a conversion, as we have done here,
Yep.
you can sleep east-west on it. 2.1, you've got 2 metres internally sleeping.
Okay. All right, so fair bit of space we've got there. Now, with a dual cab there, we're looking at seating 6 or 7?
7.
7, okay.
That's correct, yeah, 4 across the back and 3 in the front.
Okay, so basically you've got a 7-seater and you've got all of that, whereas with something like a 200 series you've got a 7-seater and then pretty much nothing
left over.
so you've got something there as well. Alright, so numbers sound pretty good then, because we've got that sort of 3 metre tray length, plus we've got maybe up to 2 tonnes of payload. Or we should mention that if you're going to go up to 6 tonnes GVM, you will need a light truck licence, which is dayish of training or something like that, because on a car license you can only drive to 4.5 tonnes, so there's that. So people are probably sounding that's pretty good. And by the way, I should say, if you've got any questions, then just type them up. We can see them pop up on the screen. So I see Michael Hamilton saying hi Robert, or hi Michael. Type any questions up, and as they come up, we'll answer them as they appear on the screen. So what we say, yeah. So let's look at costs then for this. So if we were to take a Ranger XLT, maybe that's, I don't know what it's going for, those 65, 70, maybe more drive away then, and then you're going to spend money on a canopy, suspension, etc., probably a GVM upgrade, etc., etc. All of a sudden you're looking at fairly close to 100k. So let's say that we took one of these vehicles and we put your super singles conversion on it. We'll talk about that in a sec, and with the 37-inch tyres and so forth, and then we put a basic service body on the back, nothing like a motorhome, just basically. Roughly what we're looking at then for that.
We're looking.
We've got your price list.
We're looking 72,990 plus on road for a single cab, and refresh your memory, 78,990 for a dual cab.
Okay.
That's in a cab chassis format with the 5 super single wheels, road compliant, and a winch compatible bull bar.
Okay.
A tray on top of that's what, 3.5, 4, depending on how complex it becomes.
Yeah. Okay, so a tray could be that. So a canopy over the top, you might be looking at, I don't know, 15 or 20. So, but basically, looks to me like you get a dual cab Canter or something similar on for sort of 100-ish plus on roads.
Correct.
With 37-inch tyres and a suspension lift, and then obviously once you start doing your motorhome, it really depends what you want. I mean, this one we're sitting in, we'll have a look at it in a moment. It's got toilet and kitchen and all the rest of it. So yeah. So basically, the costs for this are not a million miles away from it.
It's not crazy. It's very similar to a ute with a few accessories on the ute thrown in.
Yeah.
And yet you have a far more capable vehicle.
Okay. All right. So far we've talked about all of the advantages. You've got the payload, the cost about the same. The bit you're not going to talk about too much is what are the disadvantages. So probably the biggest one, it seems to me, is the height. It looks higher than normal.
It's a motorhome. It's 3.1 metres high.
Yeah.
There's caravans here at the caravan show where we're at the moment, which are 3 metres high. So that's not a big significant difference. Yes, it's a bit higher than the Rangers and the 200 series cruisers, but you've got your advantages of your payload.
Yeah, and then you don't need to do a GVM upgrade, and it's all warranted.
Correct.
For that work as well. Yeah. What's it like to drive on the road?
Very similar as a car.
Yeah.
We drove down the last day and a half from Brisbane to Melbourne. We were sitting 100, 110, basically the speed limit all the way. We achieved in this motorhome, bear in mind it is a motorhome, at 15.3 litres per 100k.
Yeah.
We have an Austrian client who's just done 3,000 Ks around Australia, Stockton Beach, Barrington Top, so some hardcore four-wheel driving as well. He got 12.5 in this exact motorhome on the Fuso Canter. I reckon that's pretty impressive.
Yeah, it is. Yeah. Now we're talking also about fuel and water, because one of the things you often need to do is fit long-range fuel tanks to any four-wheel drive, and you're saying that this can have up to 3 100-litre tanks and choose whether it's water or fuel.
Yeah, we actually manufacture a subframe. It's kinetically mounted to the chassis, which allows the chassis to flex, which is designed to do. And those 300 tanks could be a combination of all water, or fuel, or a combination of anything in between.
Okay, cool. All right, so let's just take a look around. So I'm just going to grab the camera now, and we'll just point it around the interior, talk a bit about that, and we'll go outside and have a look as well. Again, if you guys have got any questions, just flick them up on the screen, and we will answer them as when they come up there. All right, so let's have a look at what we've got in the back here. So here we've got basically a fold down bed. We'll come back to that a bit later on there. And we've got a toilet in here with a shower, and there's a cooktop in there, and there's a fridge. Now this fridge is one which is 12 volt only. It's not one of the ones which is vented, a combination of 12 volt and gas, so it's a proper off-road fridge. Got a stovetop in here.
Diesel cooktop.
Diesel cooktop,
and incorporates an air heater.
Yep. And a sink there as well.
Water purifying system.
Yep.
Underneath the seat here, you've got a diesel water heater and a diesel air heater as well. So you've got actually 2 air heaters, which both will do this environment. So cold travel climate is not an issue. Yeah. The actual wall construction is...
So did you say heater? A lot of people are going to go, oh my God, this thing's got a heater. How good's
right.
that? Yeah.
It does have a heater.
Yeah.
Well, it's designed for remote travel.
Yeah.
So the deserts of Australia get pretty damn cold in winter time.
So you can basically sit in here in toasty warmth and just watch everyone else freezing their asses off in a tent.
Yeah. And the walls are 38mm thick, so it's definitely going to contain the heat. Yeah. Or alternatively, if it's hot outside, it's going to retain the cool within.
So you're saying that the rabble can't get inside easily and into the warmth, they just have to freeze outside. Yeah.
That's it.
Yeah, that's nice. Yeah.
With an air conditioner as well for the opposite.
Oh well, air conditioner. Yeah. Okay. Well, we are talking luxury here. All right, let's go outside and have a look around at what else we got there. So let's start at the back. So we've got 37-inch tyres here on 17-inch rims, and standard full drive. So what sort of pressure do you run at these on the road?
Here are a flotation tyre. They run at 45 psi on the road with the configuration we have here. Let's say it is 4,600 kilo, the entire motorhome, with 200 litres of water, 200 litres of fuel, 2 spare tyres, bull bar, winch. Everything you see here is 4,600 kilo on a 6-ton GVM vehicle. So your power to weight ratio is brilliant. With that particular weight of the vehicle, we would run these tyres at 45 psi on road, 35 psi gravel corrugated road, 25 psi for sandy tracks, and even down as low as 20 psi above the high water mark, or for a dry riverbed, or ideally a canning stock route, the French line, or even a GPS drive across the Simpson Desert.
All right, now what sort of ground clearance do we get? Let's just have a look underneath here. So yeah, pretty 37-inch tyres, but that differential is not exactly small. So what we're looking at, about 220 mil.
About 220 mil off the ground.
Off the ground there.
Then you've got because you've got bigger tyres, you've got a massive approach angle, departure angle, and ramp over.
Okay. Well, one of the things I like is that the whole truck is designed for this weight, unlike a Ute where you might do a GVM upgrade, but the Driveline was never designed for that sort of weight. But yeah, so just looking at, that's a pretty serious drive shaft there, and that differential, so everything is just heavy duty under here, which is what you want.
It's built as a truck, it's built as a load carrying vehicle. So in fact everything we do is actually underrated for what the truck is capable of doing. And that's critical.
Ideal. Now let's take a look at, what's this odd little spring here?
What we do is, this is the Kinetic subframe which we were talking about. We have a steel frame that supports, in this case, the motorhome, or a steel subframe that can support your canopy or aluminium tray. That steel subframe supports, in this case, a 100 litre water tank, another 100 litre water tank, and an additional 100 litre diesel tank, all supported within the subframe. That is then kinetically mounted with 4 or 5 springs either side of the chassis rail. The concept of that is to allow the chassis to flex, which it's designed to do, and keep everything above that stable. So your fuel tanks are not flexing within the chassis rails. Very critical.
Okay, no, that's cool. All right, let's take a wander around here. I'll just grab my favourite side. Okay, wander around the front of it here. So at the front, forward control vehicle. Now we've got a bull bar here, which is one specially made for it. So anything special about the bull bar, or just a standard?
It's a lightweight aluminium, obviously structurally strong. This one's fitted with a 17,000 pound winch. In fact, this one's actually a 25,000 pound winch, so we can upgrade from a 17 to a 25,000 pound winch. 30 or 40 millimetres, 40
Does the truck run a 12 volt system or 24?
12 volt system.
Or 12 volt, right.
No more complicated going from 24 and converting back to 12.
Okay, all right.
So 40 or 30 metres of plasma rope.
Okay. Cool, and these are just to get the chassis down. So your recovery points are underneath here. There they are. So there's one. And they're rated, presumably, these recovery points?
We also have now developed a steering arm guard at the front, and also a bash plate to protect the radiator and everything up in the motor from sticks and so forth when you're pushing through scrub.
Okay, cool. We can see the uprated tyres there as well. Okay, cool. All right, well, let's have a look inside. So you put a couple of driving lights on there. See what else we got here. So, roof rack. Okay, so I sat in the driver's seat, and we've got a tyre pressure monitoring system over here, basically pretty much the same as a car. So 5-speed manual gearbox here, usual pedals there. So it's doesn't have all of the controls of a light truck, but it does have an exhaust brake, which is here, and a manual DPF burn option, which is there. There's your high and low range, and there's your four-wheel drive selector. Anything else I've missed up here, Kym?
Heads-up power steering is standard, of course.
Power steering standard?
Yes.
Okay, well that's good.
Yes. Hill start assist.
Hill start assist,
which is great for up hills and downhill. Brilliant from that point of view.
Yeah, in fact this all actually says about it there as well. Okay. Cool.
We've upgraded suspension seats in this case, both driver and passenger. It does come with a suspension driver's seat and a bench seat for the passenger. But we upgraded this case for the motorhome driver and passenger suspension seat with a centre console.
And we've got Stratos seats here, which are aftermarket. They're suspension seats, and you've put this centre console thing in there for pretty much whatever you want. But I believe you can put a third seat in there as well if you wanted to.
It comes standard with a bench seat.
And if you're agile, you can actually fit through the back there as well. Okay, and a light there. So yeah, all looks pretty good. All right, so have a look round. Actually, I'll just move out a bit so everyone can just see what this thing sort of looks like from a... There you go, that's what the truck actually looks like there. Alright, we'll have a look at some of the storage options. What do we got here then? Is that the battery?
No, this is the 2,000 watt inverter and battery charger.
2,000 watt inverter. So how many batteries we got on this thing?
2 batteries, I'll show you on the other side.
Okay.
Solar controller,
your
240 volt and 12 volt electrical system.
Yep. Is this where you'd put your tools and some of your recovery gear and whatnot?
All the torque heater like all the way around. Recovery gear in this case.
Air compressor.
Air compressor.
Yep. Oh, is this your jack?
Standard jack.
Wow, and that does the job.
All that's needed.
Okay.
50mm block underneath.
Yep.
Standard fuel, 100 litres.
Yep.
Additional 100 litre fuel.
Yep.
External 240 volt.
Yep.
Storage area.
Okay.
Diesel water heater.
Okay.
With an additional diesel air heater.
Yep. Beautiful.
Your water pump and water purifying system.
Yep.
200 litres of water, storage below, storage here, right the way through to the other side, so massive storage in that regard.
Remember guys, if you've got any questions, check them out. So Jeff Lyons has got a question, cost of the whole rig. So you've got to buy it, he just wants to buy it there. So,
Jeff, we need to contact you.
Yeah.
In its standard format, 181,400. This one here, fully optioned with absolutely everything. I mean, seriously, everything we've got, plus some as well, is 220.
220.
220.
Okay. Yeah. Okay. So there you go. There's your answer. So, but the thing about these vehicles is kind of no one answer for it because it's what you build on it. So for me, if I wouldn't have a motorhome on it, I'd just have like a basic service body so I could tow a race car over it and chuck stuff in or take stuff to the tip or put camping gear in, and that wouldn't be 220. That would probably be more like the
100k area.
100k area. Yeah, which is a bit more affordable. Yeah. Well, let's continue. Any more questions? Just lob them up and we'll get them answered. Okay, some more storage area in there. At the back we got two 37s. Now you're going to need a winch. Oh, you got something about the winch
it's
there.
Under development at the moment.
Okay.
It's our final design.
Right.
These things take time to.
Yeah.
We did have, but it wasn't quite easy to work with.
Yeah.
So we're now redesigning that at the moment.
Okay, and you've got it's rated to 3.5 tons towing, so it's a standard hitch there. You just got to get a bit of a drop down there.
That's correct.
Does this get belted off road? It comes down.
You got to think where you are. I mean, you're much higher than another one. It is a standard vehicle.
Yeah. Okay, I can have a look at the rear diff and the suspension there as well. Those shocks are quite a long way inboard actually. That's interesting. Didn't expect them to be quite that far inboard. Is it drums on the rear?
Yes, it is. Drums all round. Yes.
Yeah. All right, and pretty decent.
Great thing about
chassis
that is
there,
obviously you'll get more kilometres out of a set of drums than you would on the disc, especially when you're running a lot off road.
Okay. Yeah. All right, and it comes with a more storage space there. Awning.
Storage below. I mean, this thing has got so much storage that if you fill it up, you've got too much stuff.
Well, that's the thing. That's why people are moving towards these things, because they're filling wagons and they went to a ute, they filled a ute, now they're filling this. So I guess you buy one of these and tow a caravan and you may as well be... you may be about there. Okay, there's that. All right, cool. Well, what we'll do is, if anything else to look at round the outside? Or we could go back in and see what...
Probably to mention about the super single wheels, they're designed to track in the front and the rear exactly the same line. So obviously it comes standard.
We should talk about that. Yeah. So the standard on this, I don't think there's another car to point out at the moment, but the standard vehicle has
32-inch dual wheels.
32-inch dual wheels, which means that you get these two wheels side by side. Now, what is the problem with having two wheels side by side, a dual axle configuration when you're driving off road?
Firstly, they're a road tyre. So you're talking anywhere between 90 and 110 psi on the road.
Yeah.
It's very hard.
Yeah.
For sand driving, you're actually pushing 6 wheels in their own line through the sand.
Yeah.
Which becomes impossible, particularly with a high road pressure tyre, which you cannot really reduce.
Yeah.
Changing to 37s, which track front to rear in the same line.
Yeah.
and 45 psi, as I mentioned before, down to 20 psi on the sand. Brilliant.
Yeah. Okay. And also, then you don't get stones stuck between the two tyres.
Correct.
Yeah. All right. So this is an important thing to talk about here, because with so single axle at the back. Now, so what the guys have done here, it's a 37-inch tyre, which means that you've obviously got greater ground clearance than a 32-inch tyre, so that's one thing. As Kym has said, that track is exactly the same as the front, so when you're driving through soft conditions, you're making 2 sets of wheel marks, not 4, not 6, yeah, which is so less rolling resistance, and you don't get rocks stuck between the 2 axles there, and you can run them a bit softer because you got this.
You got a massive 20.
Yeah.
You got a 17-inch rim with a 37-inch tyre, so actually you have a 20-inch sidewall on the tyre. They're a flotation tyre. In this case, they're 10-ply. The other thing I might mention as well is the fact we mount the rear with the hub in and the front with the hub out, and both have valve stems on the outside. So 2 valve stems, one inside and one outside. So when you reverse it, you still have access to pump the tyres up and let them down.
All right, cool. We'll go back and sit down inside in a sec. So all right. Okay. What's this? Normally it says, and you're watching your right wrist or vision backwards.
Hey, Norm.
Hey, Norm. Yeah. I'm sure you've met Norm at some point there. So, all right. Okay, what else we got to talk about at outside of this thing? Batteries. Yeah, interested to know what you do on batteries. So,
comes standard with 2 start batteries, 2 12-volt start batteries, and then we run 2 AGM batteries. We can upgrade to lithium batteries. Either be 2 or 3 batteries.
Okay, and just look at the space you got. Is just heaps of it. Yeah, so that's for starting.
That's your start,
and then you've got those as well, and some from a dual battery controller there as well.
There is, yeah. Circuit breakers for the winch, all these things.
Yeah. Now, do you fit an electric brake controller for it as well, in addition to the exhaust brake, or for towing, or how does that work?
It can happen most certainly.
Yeah. Okay. All right. Cool.
Most people have got enough gear on board; they're quite happy with that without towing, but it certainly is possible.
Now, on this one, do you have any of those 100-litre tanks fitted?
Yes.
Just want to see whereabouts they are. Okay, they're up there.
2 water tanks.
Oh, okay, got it.
Forward of this, you have your 100-litre diesel tank.
I'll just see if I can get a shot of that currently underneath here. Oh yeah, there they are. Right, so that's actually where they are here. Got it. Wow, there's just so much space in this thing. It's incredible.
45-litre grey water tank.
Yeah, because you could conceivably fit even more down here if you wanted to.
You could do, but you don't want to overdo it. 200 litres of water will last you 10 days, and 200 of diesel is 1,000 k's of travelling. So it's all designed from experience. You don't need any more than that.
Yeah. Okay. What's the range fully fuelled? Says Jeff Lines.
Yeah, 1,000 k's, Jeff.
1,000 k's. Okay.
Depending on how heavy your foot is, but at that 15.3 litres is 1,000 k's. If you're travelling at 80 k an hour, you'll certainly exceed that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. The video is reversed for some reason, but. Anyway, they can still see what we're doing, so yeah. Okay, let's go back inside and continue the chat.
Thank you.
All right. All right, so here with the guys from, so I've got 17 viewing us at the moment, so it's been sort of up there from around about that number. Okay, so here talking to Kym and Marty from Australian Adventure Vehicles. We're sitting inside the Mitsubishi FG Canter Motorhome, and any questions you have about vehicles such as Hinos, Canters, Iveco Dailies, and why you might want to run one of them compared to you, type them up on the screen because we can see what they are, and we can get them answered. So whilst we wait for questions to come in, we'll just continue the conversation generally. I've got the spec sheet here. So one thing I'm interested is driving one of these through the Simpson Desert or something like that, that's all very well, it's all big wide tracks, but at some point you're going to want to get into some tighter stuff, maybe the Victorian High Country. And it's not the same size as a ute, so how does it practically go in those sort of situations?
I think you've just got to be aware of the size of the vehicle. That's all. Like anything, if you're towing a caravan, you're aware of the length of the whole vehicle as well. So it's something one becomes very used to. Even if you're driving your own personal vehicle into a car park, you understand the height of it and the width of it.
Okay, so width, what's the track compared to, let's say, a 200 series?
50 mil wider.
50 mil wider than a 200. So it's probably about that's the same as the Ranger Raptor, which is 50 mil wider.
Yes.
So there's that. Okay, so really it's just kind of the height you've got to worry about more than anything
In
this
particular case with a motorhome.
Yeah.
Yes.
Okay, didn't have that. What's its height without the motorhome, approximately?
You have to have a look on
So
our spec sheets there.
Cab to ground, so just under 2.5.
So 2.5 metres, okay. Whereas a lifted Ranger with bigger tyres is going to be probably about 2.2 with a roof rack. So it's actually not that much taller.
So you you put the roof rack on, you're like 200 mil further. It's neither here nor there, is it?
When you put a lift in. Yeah, so the thing is, I think they kind of look bigger than they are because they're so slab-sided and so forth. So yeah, dimension.
It's a different dimension for the simple reason you're actually sitting on top of the engine. So that's where your whole dynamics of the vehicle changes from a standard 200 series or something similar.
Okay. All right, so questions coming through. Can you get an automatic?
In this particular, in the Fuso Canter, you can only get an aftermarket automatic.
Right.
It's not something we would recommend to change the dynamics and the build of a big company that's already developed all these things correctly.
Okay. All right, so otherwise 5-speed auto then. Next one is what's the turning circle on this? I think it's actually fairly short. I think I saw a video, it's only about 11.2 metres or something like that, which kind of surprised me really because that's less than some of the utes.
It is remarkably good. I can't tell you the exact numbers offhand.
Well, looking at it here, the wheelbase is 3.4 metre wheelbase. Now the Ranger's wheelbase is 3.2 metres, so it's 200 metres longer wheelbase. So maybe it is, it's
not too different. It won't be too different.
Yeah, it's not too different. So yeah, it's not massive. Look, if you're used to driving a Defender 130, it's probably going to be a lot less than that. Right, so that's that one. Is there a wine fridge?
There's a fridge, yes, correct.
There is a fridge, but is it a specific wine fridge? Is very
No, there's not a wine fridge. We do have a wine storage place for the rum, probably more importantly too. So.
Okay, next question is sleeps how many?
2 people.
Okay,
we are producing a dual cab which will be available this time next year, which will travel with up to 7 and sleep 4. So that's this time next year, but this model is designed for 2 people.
But what you could do, because if you can take 7 in the cab, then you could configure it so that you could sleep 7. For example, you could put 2 or 3 maybe fold out rooftop campers on it.
That sort of thing you can do. That's where the individual do. It's not something we would do.
Yeah, but you could conceivably just do that.
Yes, you can.
So, yeah, okay. So yeah, could sleep quite a lot, particularly if they're all friends of each other, I guess. So there's that. Permanent beds. Well, that's a permanent bed, I guess. So.
This one here can be permanently made up as sleeping for 2.
Yeah.
Although it's folded up at the moment.
Yeah, so it's folded up. We folded it out later on. We won't do that again now. But so this is designed as a 2-person motorhome, isn't it?
That is correct. Yes.
This one,
It's specifically designed for across Australia, or actually across the world. That's the whole concept of the vehicle.
Yeah. Okay.
Remote travel, long distance travel, and comfortable.
Right. So for those that have just come in, here's one. Does the OEM factory warranty apply?
Correct. It does.
Yes. Yeah.
5 years, 200,000 kilometres.
Even with the super singles conversion?
Yes, correct.
Okay, that's good. So basically you put this together and then in fact servicing costs. So I asked earlier about servicing intervals and you said it's 30,000 k's is standard.
That's right.
But obviously for arduous use you'd go less than
come
that.
back to 20 or thereabouts.
Yeah, and it's what, 600-700?
That's correct, yes.
Yeah. Okay, so basically the servicing cost of one of these trucks is not a million miles out from a Ranger
That's
or
not
something
crazy.
like that as well. Certainly that sort of service interval sounds pretty good as well. Yeah, okay. All right. Now, what are we doing for safety? Because obviously it won't be 5-star rated with so forth. It's got front and 2 airbags at the front.
It does indeed.
ABS?
Yes.
Stability?
No, it doesn't have ABS. No, it doesn't
no
have
ABS on this one. Okay. Do any of the others have ABS or other safety aids?
I think the Hino does, and I'm not too sure about the Isuzu off the top of my head.
Okay. All right. So a question from Ryan Murphy. Can you have more water storage in the future dual cab motorhome? We would be a travelling family with 3 small kids.
Yes, it's a plan.
It would really depend on your configuration. So basically you can build just a flat top tray on top of our subframe. You've got 3 100 litre water tanks underneath that, a standard 100 litre diesel tank, and you can also fit anywhere between like a 150 or 200 litre belly tank to it.
Yeah, okay. So basically heaps of water then, probably, in fact, more than a caravan, because with a caravan you tend to run out of payload pretty quickly.
You could easily put on 600 kilos of liquids, so that's 300 litres of diesel and 300 litres of water, fresh water.
Yeah, okay, yeah, and the fuel consumption's pretty good on that as well. All right, so let's just, for those that have just come in, let's just recap some of the basics again. Then we're talking about a Mitsubishi FG Fuso, and that's a vehicle which got a tear weight of around about 3 tonnes, 3.5, with a tray on the back. Yeah, with dual cab there. If you wanted to drive it on a car licence, you'd need to keep your GVM to 4,500 kilos. You've got 1,000 kilos of payload. Beyond that, you can go to 6,000 kilos. Now, the tray length on that, on the dual cab, is in the order of 3 to 3.5 metres, depending on how much overhang you want. About 2 metres wide and 1.5 tall. So you've got the capacity to take 6 or 7 people, plus sort of 3 metres plus a tray length, compared to a ute which is about 1.5, 1.6, 1.7.
Keeping in mind, no matter what your GVM, whether it's your 6 tonne or down to your 4.5, that true 3.5 tonne towing still stays.
Yeah, okay. Yeah, and you've also got improved towing there as well. Now, Driveline on this, it's a part-time four-wheel drive system with manual locking hubs, right?
That's correct, yes.
Relatively
And a limited slip in the rear is standard.
Yeah. What sort of limited slip is it?
Positive drive.
Positive drive, okay. And how much of a difference does that make off-road?
Immense. It's really good. It's a very, very tight positive drive.
Okay. All right. So what's the ride like? Because you're not going to have nice soft coil suspension. You've got leaves here. You've got big off-road oriented tyres. The thing is not designed to be a comfortable ride. So what sort of things have you done to improve
Your biggest
that?
issue with any of the Japanese trucks is the fact you're sitting on top of the engine.
Right.
So to change that, the changing of the wheels from the original wheels to flotation tyres is immediate, a 60% improvement in the ride.
Okay.
Add to that then a suspension upgrade, and if you go one step further with twin suspension seats, the ride is magic. It's not perhaps like a Lexus, but it is significantly improved the fact that I have a happy wife, so we have a happy life if she drives. So that's
Okay.
a plus.
Well, that's going to be the way to go.
I've actually had a client say there's nothing better than a 37-inch tyre for a shock absorber, so it makes all the difference.
Yeah, okay. That's good. All right, so let's run through some of the pros and cons then. So on the pro side, you've got huge carrying capacity, potentially up, well, if you go for the 6 tonne GVM, maybe 2.5, 3 tonnes. You've got a huge load space of 3 metres by 2 metres, factory warranty, seat 6 or 7 people, etc. Yeah, it's basically designed to do the hard yards of going there. Disadvantages, as I say, it's taller than the average there. It won't drive like a ute there. You won't be able to have Land Cruiser 200 series type luxury levels because they're not designed for that sort of thing. There's no automatic. It's 5-speed manual. I think that's pretty much pros and cons as a base there.
Whatever one chooses in any vehicle, there's a compromise somewhere.
Well, exactly,
but this has significant advantages.
Certainly. And also you end up being legal. You don't need to worry about overloading the vehicle because
not at all.
It's kind of hard to load. But well, I'm sure some people could manage it to overload 6 tonnes, but
just remember it's built like a truck as well, so it can at least take those kind of weights safely.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So those that joined, type up any questions you've got, anything you want to know about light truck vehicles like Canters, Fusos, Dailies, etc. So let's talk about that. So you guys deal with a range of vehicles then. So what would make you steer someone towards, let's say, an Iveco Daily or one of the Hino ranges or a Canter, or what are the pros and cons?
I think it depends where you're going to travel. To start with, the new Iveco Daily is a Euro 6, so it has AdBlue. So AdBlue is not really designed for remote travel vehicle. You won't perhaps get it in Bamaga and top of Cape York. You certainly won't get it across the Canning Stock Road and the French line.
Couldn't you just load it up with enough just to see if...
Yeah, but if you're going to go one step further and drive around the world, you're only going to get AdBlue in continental North America, Europe, Australia and South Africa.
It is highly heat sensitive as well. Starts to break down above 45 degrees. So you really need to keep your mind out on storing it in storage containers and in hotspots.
Yeah, all the Ford Everest owners are, all across
So
the
unfortunately,
issues,
that's modern technology.
Okay.
Euro 6 engines are going to be an issue for remote travel vehicles, no matter what brand it is.
And when's Euro 6 coming in?
For this one, 2021, they're still developing the engine at the moment, so I would imagine to be a few years off yet before we even, fortunately, have to think about that.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So, but is the current Daily Euro 6?
Yes, it is.
Okay. All right.
And there's a new model coming out, which is also continues to be Euro 6, but it also has independent front end, so we understand. No one's really seen too much about it, so that'll be another story at a later stage.
New Daily independent front end. Okay. So, leaving aside the AdBlue.
Okay, then you go back. Let's look at the Isuzu again. Yeah. I talk from experience about international travel.
Okay. So which Isuzu are we talking about here?
The NPS, the 4x4.
Yeah.
Yep. That will not go over 4,000 metres because the computer will shut down due to lack of oxygen.
Okay.
So if you were travelling overseas and wanted to do South America and do the high Andes or Tibet or some of the high mountains in Africa, it will go into limp mode. The secondly thing, it will not accept high sulphur fuel.
Okay.
So high sulphur fuel is going to be available in any developing country, any exciting country that has an adventure in it that's not typically Europe, North America or Australia.
Yeah. Actually, so we just should say at this point that Kym has been described as off-road royalty, and that's pretty true. Because apart from doing 10 years in the Outback Challenge, and did you win it a few times?
Oh, we won it a couple of times.
Yeah, exactly.
On the podium reasonably.
Yeah,
often,
he's a very successful off-road competitor. He also took a truck and
we took a Fuso Canter overseas.
Yeah,
we travelled the Road of Bones in 2007. And altogether, we've done over 300,000 k's of international overland travel.
So this is a man that really knows his stuff. He's competed at the top levels in the world in four-wheel driving and been successful. Got one of these four-wheel drive trucks, drove it around the world. So it's not just some random salesman I'm sitting here with, a guy that really knows his stuff. So just to let the guys know that I've got some good people.
Thank you.
Right. Right. So coming back to that, then, are the pros and cons of the vehicle. So the Daily runs AdBlue, which you view as a disadvantage. The Isuzu
computer-wise won't go above 4,000 metres
and doesn't like
high sulphur fuel.
Yep.
We've found that the Canter basically will cover all that. We've had the Canter at 5,200 metres. It will lose about 40% of its engine power, but it will still drive.
Yeah, it was rare.
Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
It also, because it has a braking system that needs air, like a vacuum tank. It will also lose about 50% of its braking over that, but you have a wonderful exhaust brake, so that resolves that issue.
Okay. All right, so new question from Ryan Murphy. For overseas travel, Africa and Mongolia with high sulphur fuel, what's your pick, make and model? I guess that would be the Canter.
Has to be the Canter then.
Yeah, okay.
We've had a Canter, exactly one of these motorhomes, go to South Africa together with her. It's a single lady travelling.
Yeah.
Her brother went with a 200 series cruiser.
Yeah.
Both of them drove up to Lesotho, high altitude driving, high sulphur fuel. The Fuso still kept going, no issues whatsoever. She was panicked about it, but it had no issues whatsoever. The 200 series cruiser needed a $10,000 rebuild, all the computer stuff taken out. He's still puffing black smoke, and he's going to have to put all that back in if he returns that vehicle.
Yeah, because one of the things that's appealing to me is these vehicles are literally designed to just keep on going, because they're basically trade vehicles, right? They're designed to carry a load and just keep moving, and you give up some of the creature comforts and so forth, and it's all just literally designed for 6,000 kilos of weight, whereas the utes we drive are not. And to me, that's kind of a big selling point. And yes, you give up some of the safety and some of the luxury features and the comfort, but as you say, everything's a compromise. Now the Daily has the advantage of coil springs and twin lockers and I think standard 37 or 35 inch tyres. So if you didn't mind the AdBlue, what would you think of a Daily?
It's built in the wrong country.
Meaning?
Reliability. These are Japanese built. Any of the Japanese trucks are reliable. In fact, any of the Japanese vehicles are primarily reliable. But I'm just uncomfortable with an Italian built Iveco
Have you seen issues with the dailies and stuff?
Only from previous businesses I've owned, electrical issues,
Braking issues.
The brakes overheat constantly, transmission box failures, gearbox mount failures, pinion bearings leaking. Look, great vehicle. It's just a shame they can't get their warranty and their reliability sorted.
Yeah. Okay.
Other than that, we'd be in there as well too.
Okay, all right, and so the Isuzu, where does that sort of, because clearly the Canter is kind of your favourite from a reliability perspective.
It's almost similar on par as far as reliability is concerned with the Fuso. It's only those two issues for overseas travel. If overseas travel is not an issue, then the Isuzu is a comparable choice as well.
Yeah, because there's not too many places in Australia you're going to go to 4,000 metres.
And you're lucky to get half there.
Yeah, and high sulphur fuel probably less.
It doesn't happen at all in this country.
Yeah. So yeah, you've got. So okay, so if someone was thinking, okay, should I go Canter or Isuzu? What would sway you one way or the other? Would it just be a personal preference?
It's probably like the Holden Ford type scenario between the two. It's people are either that way inclined or the other.
Yeah. The 75 series Isuzu has a 7.5 ton GVM.
Yeah.
Fitted with the super singles, it brings that down to a 7 ton. So I suppose that higher load carrying capacity will suit some people. But as Kym said, on par, a very, very similar vehicle and just as capable.
All right. And Hino?
Hino, look, we were very much in favour of the Hino. The issue with the Hino was the fact they've actually built the 7-ton vehicle or 7.5-ton vehicle using component parts for the 12-ton truck. So the chassis is significantly huge. In fact, it's double the size of either the Fuso or Isuzu chassis in thickness and in height. The gearbox transfer case is all out of a 12-ton vehicle. You add a significant significant curb weight to the vehicle before you even throw a can of drink inside there.
So pretty much 600 kilos heavier than the Canter just as a flat tare weight. So.
Wow. Yeah, and there's kind of no need.
I think it's
yeah. Yeah, someone just corrected us. The Daily runs power, but yes, it does run leaf springs. I was thinking of the Unimog, which was going to be my next question there as well. Matt S says, plus the dollars you spend upgrading suspension in a ute to carry that weight. Yes, but that's not actually the big problem of a ute. The problem is when you, and this is not something that's commonly known, when you upgrade a suspension on a ute, you make it capable of carrying more weight from a suspension point of view. However, there's two things you've got to remember of that. Firstly, no matter how capable the car is of carrying the weight, if you don't get it GVM upgraded so the plate officially allows you to carry more, then it's not legal. So that's one thing. And secondly, even if you do upgrade the suspension to carry the weight, then you also need to consider things like the driveline and everything else there. So it's not just the suspension. So it's a fair bit of extra effort to go in there as well. Another comment there, Fuso 5-year warranty standard. Oh, I didn't know that. That's
yeah, that's correct.
Well.
Yeah.
It's one of the longest warranties in the market.
The Isuzu is a 3-year, 100,000. But I mean, that's the benefits of being backed by a very, very big reputable company, being Mercedes and Daimler.
And bear in mind that Fuso is marketed globally as well too.
Yeah, so you can get stuff anywhere. So it's basically the same thing there. Yeah. Now. Traction aids on this, so there's no electronic traction control or anything else like that.
No, there's not.
Canters,
No.
Okay. And it's just there's no locking differential option.
No, there's not. It's purely the standard LSD. You can get an aftermarket front LSD. I think with the correct tyres on there, it's hardly needed.
Okay. Yeah. All right. Now, any other questions from you guys there? Because whilst we've got the experts here, we're able to answer pretty much anything you got about why you'd want to perhaps move from a wagon up to one of these trucks there. So far it seems that the costs are not astronomical, because you can get a cab chassis here for $80,000 or $78,990 on the road, which includes 37-inch super singles conversions and a few more things. On top of that, you do have to build your body to go on the back of it, which could be anywhere from sort of $3,000 for a tray up to, I guess, 100,000 for a full-on motorhome.
Yes, correct.
So I figured that most of there. I asked about wading depth before, and we didn't show it when he walked outside there, but it does have a raised air intake there, and I think you said about a metre.
It's about metre. We actually do, as one of our options is extension
diff, gearbox breathers.
I see do gearbox breathers
Yeah.
as well. Yeah, okay. Now servicing, presumably you can just get these things serviced pretty much anywhere because they're
Any Fuso dealer, Australia-wide or worldwide for that matter.
Yeah, okay. What does resale stack up like? Because once sort of wagons and utes start to get above 100,000, 200,000 Ks, people start looking at it a bit sideways. What do people generally run? These happen too.
Well, there was one our client bought one in very recently. It was had 100 and something thousand Ks on it. It was 7 years old and it was only 10,000 less than a brand new vehicle.
Okay.
So it's resales is good.
Yeah, resale's not bad at all. And who are you finding typically? So a couple of questions here. So let's go over it. Can we see the bathroom again? Yes, we can. What are the advantages over? So we'll take Michael Hamilton's question, just showing the bathroom again quickly, and then we'll tackle Dave Hamilton's question. So, what do you want to talk about the bathroom? Anything else? So we got to, I guess, say we won't demonstrate it if that's okay. We'll just sort of take it as read that the toilet actually works.
It's a chemical toilet.
Yeah. So
it's certainly not a black water toilet. You definitely need a chemical toilet for remote travel.
And there's even a mirror. Okay, and I actually might turn the video the right way around. Okay, so we've got a nice little shower in there. Okay, so that's the toilet again. In fact, whilst I'm at it, I'll just show you the front of the car. So we've got the hatch through here, and then you can see there's the cabin there, and there's the console the guys put in there as well. Oh, and it's got air adjustable seats. You didn't mention that. So okay, Stratos air seats there, and a little another storage locker here. Storage lockers all over the place. All right. So yes. Yeah, now we've also got to mention here, Marty's just reminded me, we are at the
Victorian Caravan Camping and Touring Show.
Yes,
near
indeed.
The Flemington Racecourse.
Just about that, and everyone can see that. Yeah, so no, camera's reversed it, of course. But anyway, we are at the Victorian Caravan and Camping Show, which is on till Monday.
Till Monday.
Yep, so you can come down and see the guys here, and there's all sorts of full drive accessories, caravans, and you name it for RV touring.
And the best motorhome you'll see.
Yeah, and apparently the best motorhome you'll see, which is where is that? Where can you see that one? Yeah.
Right at entrance number 1.
Right at entrance number 1. Okay, so yeah, we're here. So yeah, do come down and support the show. There is a vast amount of caravans, RVs, and vehicles here, so it'll be good to see. All right, now question from Dave Hickman, then we'll get to Simon Haslow in a minute. What are your advantages over the competition with regard to the camper body?
As Kym probably mentioned earlier, each vehicle comes with a set of functionality and things that's going to sort of achieve to different people across the board.
I think the main advantage is the fact that this one has been designed from experience, from our 300,000 Ks of international travel. So it's designed from pure experience rather than sitting down in front of a computer and saying, this is a good idea. And so many of those ideas, unfortunately, is what I call a Clayton's idea, a great idea that doesn't work. So this is a practical vehicle that has inside what you do need. It doesn't have what you don't need.
Okay,
and
so
price structure is the other big thing as well too, but we'll mention that when people want to inquire directly.
I guess in these vehicles there's probably two parts. There's buying the vehicle, and then there's buying the body to go onto it.
Correct.
Whereas with a ute, you pretty much, well, you could obviously just pop a canopy here and put some drawers and you could call it done, or you could put a service bar in it. But here, you can't put a canopy on the back. You've got to have some form of tray or body.
That's right.
And presumably you could sell people just a cab chassis and they could get whoever they want to build whatever they want on the back of it.
Yes.
Or you could do the whole lot themselves, so you kind of got that flexibility. So that is something to bear in mind when you're looking at pricing for this. Well, it's like with anything, and people need a full drive, they go, oh, I'll just buy a car for 60k and that will be the end of it. You're going, well, actually 60k is just the start. Now you've got to start accessorising it, and then you've got to buy a camping gear. Same sort of deal for this. You can't just look at the sticker price of this and go, that's the end of it. As with anything RV or four-wheel drive, you've got to budget for the entire build. But again, that's not a million miles off a smaller vehicle there. Now, question from Simon Haslow. Do you cook on gas or diesel oven hub?
We cook on a diesel cooktop. This vehicle is designed again for remote travel, both locally and internationally. So it's a diesel cooktop, although we do offer an option of an induction cooktop as well too.
Yeah. Okay. And you were saying earlier on that we've actually got a separate little diesel engine here. Is that right?
The diesel burner.
The diesel burner, sorry. And therefore this thing can be heated and also run an air conditioner as well. So
Correct.
you can take it places where you really wouldn't want to take a tent.
So that's exactly
yeah.
right. Yeah.
Yeah, that would be good. Okay. All right. Is there any more questions from anyone? We're sitting here with the experts on light truck vehicles, discussing the pros and cons of these versus a wagon or a ute. One question here: if you've got a young family, obviously, if you've got more than two children, then often you end up having to tow, but you could get one of these and put everything in there. Now, can you fit a, if you're in the dual cab, can you put a child restraint?
Yes.
Yes.
Yeah,
So
correct.
you
Yeah,
could-
it needs to be done by a certified fitter, and basically compliance plate the suit.
Okay.
But there are a number of families travelling Australia right now that are travelling with young children, and they're spending anywhere up to a year or two or even 3 on the road, travelling both in just in a crew cab with a built-on tray, or sleeping on the truck, or towing a van, because once again you've got that option.
Now, one thing I'm interested. Look, it would be nice to get to the point where you've retired and all you're going to do is just go on ski trips and not have to worry about anything. You probably have a dedicated motorhome. But for those of us that are still earning daily coin for a living, you might want a truck as a dual purpose. So, for example, in my case, I tow a race car places when I put stuff in the back. Other people have trades, etc. So. What sort of setup can you do to sort of have the vehicle multi-purpose? Obviously, it's not kind of a daily driver to the shops.
Probably start with a base of just a flat, heavy-duty alloy tray, and then from there you can basically have your removable toolboxes. You can have removable swags, rooftop tents. Basically, imagination's your limit. So we've got a number of suppliers and different bodies that we can help people with a ground-up, complete custom build for their vehicle.
And even slide-on campers are a possibility with it as well too.
Yeah. And what's the annual rego like compared to a normal car?
It's about $900 a year including CTP.
Okay.
600 rego and 300 CTP.
Now that's
as a motorhome.
Yeah. Now, what do Queensland charge you for cars? Because it'd be different from the state to state.
Well, that's a Queensland price. That's the price I know.
So you complete on-road costs there for under 4.5, which is the same as a vehicle there. So that's including your stamp duties.
So I'm just trying to get an idea of annual running costs. So in Victoria, we get charged different rego rates depending whether it's a ute or a wagon. It's I think $100 different or something like that. Is it significantly more rego compared to a car in Queensland?
If you're registered under 4.5, it's still classed as a car, so your figure's the same.
Right.
If it's over that, class as a truck. It depends whether it's registered as a truck or as a motorhome. So there are a number of different categories in that.
All right, but yeah, it's going to be a bit more, but not sort of
not crazy numbers.
Yeah, okay, all right, good. All right, insurance. Any idea what insurance is like? Again, comparing it, because I'm just trying to think of overall costs here. Is insurance significantly different? I guess if you've got a $220,000 motorhome, that's a bigger risk to the insurer than, let's say,
so it's around a $2,000 insurance.
$2,000 to insure a motorhome.
To insure this motorhome at $225,000.
There are specialty insurers out there, and you can talk to us about it, and we can certainly suggest
a number of different companies to talk directly to.
All right, so it looks like the costs are a bit higher, then you're getting more capability. So I guess you weigh up that against a caravan. So you could say, look, could I get one of these, maybe spend $200k making a motorhome, or I could get myself a ute or a wagon and then tow myself a trailer or a large caravan. So that's kind of the options there. Okay, cool.
I'd probably like to throw in just that a 37-inch super single upgrade is available across the range of trucks. So both the Hino 300 and the Isuzu 75. So we can also back the compliance with the Isuzu's back to 2000 and anything post 2009 on the Canters. Yeah. Obviously the Hino's only new, so it's just the Hino 300 and the 817.
Okay. All right, we're coming up to the hour mark on this live. There's been a fair few questions now, so probably going to knock it on the head around about the hour mark. So if any of you guys got any questions about light trucks such as Canters, Hinos, Isuzus, Ivecos, that sort of thing, now is the time to ask them, because we're actually literally sitting in one at the moment. I can show you around it, and we've got the experts here who have been there, done that, and actually kit these out for off-road and export some of their super single kits over to different parts of the world. In fact, we talked about the super single kit a bit earlier on in the piece, but some new people may have come in. So what that is that the standard tyres on this are 32-inch tall, and on the back they're dual axle, that's like you'd see on any large heavy vehicle. Disadvantages of that setup, Kym, what's the problem with smallish tyres?
32-inch tyres are normally load rated, tyre pressure run at between 90 and 110, which is really like driving a concrete truck. The 37s will run at 45 psi on road. They're a flotation tyre,
yeah.
So you have something almost like a 20-inch sidewall, so a much softer ride on the vehicle. They track front to rear in the same line, so off-road, be it sand, mud or snow for that matter, a much improved ride and improved traction.
Yeah, because with a 32-inch tyre, that's often what people go up to, run 265, 70, 17, and you do get about 220-ish mils of ground clearance when you do that. But if you look at the size of the differential on this, it is a serious heavy-duty differential which hangs down much lower, so you do need to go to a 37, and that gives you sort of 220, 230.
Yes. And the smaller original wheels that do come on them are actually a lower load rated and speed rated tyre than the 37s that we fit, but obviously because there's 2 or 4 across that rear axle, that's what gets that axle load limits back up. But one truck, for example, out there had its front axle derated due to the original wheels that it had come out to, where it was rated at 2800 kilo via the tyre placard, but it had a 3100 front axle capacity.
Yeah. Okay, new questions from Michael Hessian. Any comments about fitting the body to an Ocker? What do you guys think of Ockers? And the question is, well, first of all, let's take it in two parts. Can you take this body and put it on an Ocker?
We have a specially designed subframe which at this stage limits ourselves to the Fuso Canter, the current model FGB 71. So no answer to that question.
Anything's possible.
It is possible.
Yeah. I haven't done
you
it.
Can take the salesman out.
Yeah, okay.
You see the salesman's here.
Yeah, we'll take your money. We'll figure it out.
Yeah. But we do super single wheels for your Ocker. We've done a number of them now. So.
Do the Ockers not come with singles?
They do, but they run the Michelin XLs, which is speed rated.
Yeah.
And,
speed rated, and they're not $800 to $900 each.
And a lot of people have been having a lot of trouble getting anything to fit that's suitable. So we've actually converted quite a few of the Ockers to 37-inch super singles over the last 12 months.
Okay.
So.
And what do you think of the Ocker compared to, say, a Canter?
It's a light truck, but I put it's a totally different class of vehicle. The way that it's been built and set up. So,
firstly, it's no longer available, and it's a piecemeal put together of Dana diffs and so forth, and a combination of different motors. Great vehicle, it's just not around anymore.
Yeah, it's pretty old as well. So,
yes, it is now.
I was going to ask about Unimogs earlier on. That's what I was thinking of Coral Springs. So, where do you place the Unimog in your sort of hierarchy of light trucks and so on?
Great vehicle, longevity-wise, ideal. Mercedes build, too big, too heavy.
Because it's significantly wider and longer.
Significantly wider. So every wheel track you're going down in the world, you're going to have to push rocks and sticks and stumps and trees on one side or the other.
There's some actual tracks in Australia that you're not even legally allowed to access.
The Canning stock route, you can't take a man or a Unimog or...
Is that because they're specifically banned, or just a certain
because they're
weight,
specifically banned because they destroy the roads.
Yeah.
Because they're too wide.
Yeah, okay. All right, yeah, so it'd be nice just to have slightly scaled down Unimogs. You still got the portals and the coils and the lockers, which just kind of, I don't know,
you do all that, and then your road limit, speed limits are 80 k an hour. You drive yourself insane trying to pass a caravan or a semi-trailer on the road. You'd drive me insane anyway.
Aren't Camrys limited to 80 k's an hour? Just joking. Yeah. Okay, cool. All right, so yeah, that's good to know. So we've got about another maybe 3 or 4 minutes left. And anybody got any more questions whilst we're talking about light trucks? We're going to wrap it up in about 3 or 4 minutes. So speak now or forever. Well, look, you can post on the Facebook pages later on.
You can find us on Facebook as well. We've
Yep.
got AAV 4x4 or Australian Adventure Vehicles, Truck Super Singles, and you can also see us at Discovery Motorhomes.
Yeah, so again, we can come down to the Victorian.
It's a Victorian caravan camping and touring super show.
Yep, so come down to that. If you're watching this live, then you'll be able to see a replay of all of this, and I will post up some of the conversation here, and you can comment on that, and I'm sure the guys will come back and answer questions as well. So another question from Dave Hickman: thoughts on the G Professional Merc as a platform? So G Professional Merc, that's basically the Mercedes Ute, and
Haven't had any
yeah.
experience in it, so I really can't comment.
Yeah. So interesting thing about that is that has been used by the ADF. I've driven them in 4x4 and 6x6 version. It's got a 7-speed auto in that, double and twin lockers there. They're expensive vehicles, very expensive.
The only comment I can make is we've had an inquiry from someone who does offer them in the marketplace commercially, and the rims are cracking up.
Okay.
So we've had to do a quotation to supply replacement rims.
Yeah, I haven't seen a lot of people really embrace the G Professional Merc, and I think because it's really quite expensive.
I think you could buy
yeah.
2 of these for the price thereof.
Yeah, I have tested a G-Wagon off-road, and I wasn't massively impressed with it, because whilst it had live axles front and rear, it didn't really have the flex to go with it. It did have triple lockers, but the odd thing was, as soon as you engaged the centre diff lock, the traction control stopped working, which was bizarre. So you either had an unlocked centre diff, in which case the drive was going all over the place and traction control worked, or you had this locker. It was just weird, but it was a pretty cool car, and there's not a vast amount of space in the wagon version. It's a pretty short wheelbase, so that's why I think we're not seeing a lot of G-Wagons out there, because they're pricey, and really for the money it's hard to sort of see why you'd spend that extra, to be honest.
Show pony.
Well, yeah, possibly, and I have heard that they're not the most reliable in use with some of the emergency services either, but yeah, no. Okay guys, so just about to wrap this up. Any final questions there? Yep, thanks guys, we've really appreciated that everyone's dialed in to listen to this.
Feel free to contact us on the pages that I mentioned before as well, or via email. I'm more than happy to help out and answer some more of your questions.
Yep. Yeah, okay, all that will be good. So thanks for watching,
Okay.
guys. This will be available on the website. It's going to hit finish now, and then you'll be able to just replay it. Other than that, feel free to post on my page or the Australian Adventure Vehicles page or anywhere else. And yeah, look, there's no right answer, because for some people the answer is going to be Suzuki Jimny, other people it's going to be a Ute, whatever it is. All we're trying to do here is say, hey look, there's another option. You don't have to go overloading a Ute. There's all sorts of things you can do, so just keep this in mind as an option, and at some point it may be right for some of you. Thanks guys, and see you on the page.
Cheers.